According to research analyst Sally Lindsay, access to information technology is no longer considered a luxury, but rather a valuable resource and an important survival tool. However, persons within the disabled communities are often excluded from access to technology. And zooming in to speak about how the digital divide is affecting persons with disabilities is Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities Executive Director Christine Hendricks. Good morning, Christine.
Morning, Miss Christine.
Good morning, Neville and Delia. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I suspect, well, I don't suspect, I'm certain that this COVID-19 has affected all of us in a terrible way, but I suspect more so with persons with disabilities, right?
Yes, it has. When the pandemic struck last year, March, I recall having conversations with the leaders in the community, and the impact was as great and sometimes greater than the ordinary Jamaican. For many, it was food, of course, at first, and then the need for data, the need for devices, the need for healthcare, the need for communication, particularly for the deaf who needed to understand what was happening, to hear what was happening. And of course, we sought to address those. But the greatest need, and it still remains, the need for access to technological devices and data.
Yeah. I mean, the digital divide exists for everyone within the disabled communities. What are some of the parameters? Christine, Neville raised something interesting this morning, because I was saying for persons who are not as mobile, staying at home may be a better option, but he was also suggesting that there are persons who may not be able to use their hands as much, and so they would need special types of equipment. What are some of the challenges and the differences within the community?
Some of the challenges, and one which is part of the protocol for the deaf person, wearing of mask is a challenge. As much as it is a protection, the fact that we do not yet have clear masks, it makes it difficult for the deaf and hard of hearing persons to read the expression on your face, because expression is part of the language and part of the communication access for persons who are deaf. Very, very critical. Of course, the challenge also is being online and attending school. For many persons with disabilities, varying disabilities, that one-on-one interaction, interface with the person with you is the best way to go. However, of course, the pandemic and the protocols that come with it say that we're to social distance, we're to stay at home. And so many children are not interfacing with the education system any at all. Many persons who are able to have a device and maybe have the data. It is difficult to deal with behavioral challenges over the internet or in that way, because we are not yet used to it. We have not yet practiced that means of communication or dealing with each other. And so although technology is good and it bridges the divide in terms of society with persons with disabilities and the rest of society, because we have just been thrust into it, it makes the challenge a little bit greater. Of course, I know that as time progresses and as we get used to doing so, then it will be a little bit better. Of course, persons will tell you that, like all other parents of children with disabilities are frustrated because they used to get that break with children going to school and then coming home. Now the parent has to be the teacher, and the parent dealing with their own work stresses for some, their own emotional challenges and their own mental well-being, and to be able to have to be able to deal with their children in the same manner, it makes it a little more burdensome because the support is greater. The support need is greater for children and parents with children with disabilities.
Well, Christine, that is
The
amazing.
challenges
I'm sorry to
are
jump in.
great.
Sorry to jump in. It is amazing because I did not even think about what you said about the mask. That is absolutely amazing. We have a couple of minutes. What do you want to see? How can everyone help?
I think support and understanding in the workplace for those parents who have to go to work and they have children with disabilities, and a little bit more understanding on the part of the employer, understanding that they need more support to be home sometimes, to be there for their children, understanding too that if they can work from home, then although it might be challenging in some instances, it might be one of the best things, because what has to happen is the teacher therefore has to teach the parent, and then the parent teach the child. For our children, it is the need for devices, and not just devices, but devices with data, and device that has the capacity to have apps and different programs that can help the varying children with the different disabilities. So although it is good that, we're trying to ensure that each child has a device, for persons with disabilities is not just the provision of the device. It is important that there is access to the internet. I know that our government is working on ensuring that we have access right across the island, but we also have to think about the deep rural areas. We have to think about making it available and affordable more than anything else, because sometimes, although it is available, it is not necessarily affordable. And so we would implore those who would assist or seek to assist when they provide the devices to ensure that there is data as well, and the opportunity for the addition of the different apps and programs to support the varying disabilities.
I hope you get your wish. Great to see you. Again, I didn't even think about that. I'm still having it in my head that I didn't even think about even the mask. Great to see you, and I hope things work out for you.
Nice to see you too, Neville.
Take care. Christine Hendricks, Executive Director for the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was talking about some people with disabilities wouldn't be able to access them also. But I didn't even think about that, because even the folks who lip read, obviously if you have on a mask,
Can't read it.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that at all. That's incredible.
Yeah.
We'll be grateful for what you have.
Yeah. Coming up next, we catch up with veteran radio broadcaster Patrick Lafayette.
My friend.
We'll be right back.
Soon come.
Nothing comes easy, it takes much practice. Like I met a woman who's becoming a